Cuffing season is upon us, y'all. The holidays are another big reminder to anybody that is, single in these streets, or even if you've been single for a long time and you just don't like to be alone in the holidays. The holiday season is extremely triggering. My first holiday season post separation, it was a complete and utter shit show. Just the approach. My family was planning to celebrate it in Georgia. How do I get to Georgia from Florida with an infant? What does it take to fly? Oh shit, babies have a lot of shit. She got milk that needs to be refrigerated, can't be out of the fridge for more than 2 hours. She has a car seat. Do I bring my car seat? Where do I put it? Do I stow it under the plane? Do I rent a car seat when I get there? The stroller too, do I need to buy a smaller stroller, or do I take this big ass spaceship of a stroller? Diapers, what happens when she poops on the plane? Do I have to change her diaper in the airplane bathroom? Do I do it in the seat and have everybody smelling her shit? Y'all, I was paralyzed with all of the thoughts. Kids are a lot at home, let alone on an aircraft. All those thoughts. And it all harkens back to, God damn it, this wouldn't be the case if. Welcome back to Lex Talk. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I know it has been a minute since I have done one of these solo episodes, and I've missed it, y'all. I have really missed it. This process is extremely therapeutic for me. It really forces me to sit down and organize my thoughts in a way that I wouldn't normally take the time to do. It allows me to explore different experiences that I'm going through in much greater depth. Actually, this is like a little bit of free therapy. Back when I was doing my group therapy classes, they would give us homework often to do something called self-inquiry, and that's basically you sit down and ask yourself a series of questions, and they're very simple questions, but they're super thought-provoking, and they help you just like tap in to your emotions in a way that, for people like me, it's very useful because I tend to not give enough value to my emotions, and because of that, I don't recognize how big of a role they actually play in my life. So, for instance, if I'm going through something and I feel some type of way, but I know that I'm kind of acting irrationally or feeling irrationally, I'll try to suppress that feeling because it's not fair or not appropriate in my mind. But I'm still very much feeling that feeling. And so me dismissing it makes me overlook the bigger issue, which is, why am I feeling that emotion? What is making me react so strongly? And so self-inquiry helps me circle back and take the time to sit with the event, and I can start to like point out, I missed something there. There was an emotion that I felt that I'm not addressing, and it makes it very difficult to understand why I do the things I do because I'm not recognizing what I'm feeling during that time. So anyways, this process is basically my version of self-inquiry. And honestly, I need to do it way more than I actually do. But self-inquiry also comes with a lot of shit that you don't want to unearth because it's a hard truth that you have to face or accept about yourself. So anyways, I don't know how I got to that. I was supposed to be introducing myself. So I am Alexis, for those of you that don't know me, and the purpose of this channel is to have real conversations about life, love, and relationships. If you have recently tuned into my channel and seen the last few episodes, you have probably seen my co-host Kamoy. We do a segment together called Key Conversations where we basically just talk about kind of hot topics. And basically the point is having a male and female perspective, often at different ends of the spectrum, because we tend to disagree about everything. And the goal was to have difficult conversations, or to hear different perspectives, and hopefully offer insight on why the other person thinks the way they do. Because I know that most of the time when we hear something that's different from our opinion, we tend to get offended, and that stops all like conversation from happening. So Kamoy and I, from the outset of our relationship, we were having nothing but disagreements, but we were somehow able to hear each other. Now, that don't always be the case for me. I am typically the more offended one, but I do try my hardest to really have those discussions and allow those to see the light of day, and allow that discord to just be out in the zeitgeist. So anyways, when I am by myself, I like to talk about the many experiences that I have had and am still having in life, because I feel like as a Black woman, as a Black professional, as a mom, as a divorcee, as a single co-parent, there are a number of experiences that I've had that I want to share, because I know I'm not the only one that's experiencing them. And something that is a very core belief of mine is that we often go through life feeling things, experiencing things, and thinking that we are alone in those experiences, when really most of us are going through a similar experience, but we don't talk about it. And I know that I have been blessed in the past when I have stumbled upon someone's testimony that lined up with how I was feeling. And it just made me feel so much less alone. It made me feel seen and heard and understood. Even if I never had a conversation with the person, it made me feel like, okay, I'm normal to somebody, you know? And so because I have no problem airing out all of my business to strangers, I feel like it's my superpower. And so I feel like, why not share and see if someone else can be blessed in the way that I have been in the past? Or if I can just offer insight about a particular way that certain people might feel about things that others don't know or can't tap into, because sometimes it's just hard for people to give words to what they're feeling. So if I can help in that way, I feel like I should, and so I do. And so cuffing season is upon us, y'all. And if you don't know what that really means, it's basically the months from about October, November through mid-February, early March. It's basically when, hot girl summer has officially come to an end. It's starting to get a little cooler outside for everybody that doesn't live in Florida. And you're wanting somebody to keep you warm at night. You're wanting a little blanket boo. And honestly, the way that global warming is set up, Floridians, we be wanting a blanket boo too. Especially, I don't know what the fuck has been in the atmosphere. I said there must be some Tauros in the atmosphere. This winter has been disrespectful. Like, it's one thing for winter to be disrespectful elsewhere, but for it to be this disrespectful in Florida, the utmost audacity has been reached. And so, yeah, this year more than ever, I have come to understand what seasonal depression is, because now y'all can laugh, but the 2 days of real winter that we had on Christmas Day and the day either before or after, I was pissed off. I woke up just upset because I felt trapped. I felt trapped. I felt like I couldn't go outside. I don't have anything in my closet that is like can be identified as real winter gear. Like, I don't have it, y'all. Once I moved away from the cold, I I literally left every coat with a real liner in Kentucky. And I never looked back, y'all. I was so happy to get rid of all that shit. And I have not replaced any of that stuff. I can't even really layer with any real like goal at this point. So anyways, suffice it to say, I was trapped in the house for all those 2 days of winter, and it was awful, y'all. And it leads to this point. A big part of the winter season is the holidays, and the holidays are another big reminder to anybody that is, you know, newly divorced or single in the street, or even if you've been single for a long time and you just don't like to be alone in the holidays. The holiday season is extremely triggering. And so, yeah, I want to talk about getting through the holiday season. And especially now, this is my second holiday season in these streets. And there's a lot that I've learned between last year and this year that, you know, it taught me a lot about the grieving process, the healing process, and really just a lot in particular about myself and how to kind of grow from here. So let's go through it. Let's talk about all the lessons learned, and hopefully it can help somebody, help somebody. So first things first, let's see. First, suck. So the first of anything after a divorce, it sucks. And so let me just put this out there. I speak about divorce from the vantage point of grief, because that is what I have been taught is what you are experiencing when you go through a divorce. You're experiencing a level of grief that is similar, not the same, but similar to what someone experiences when they lose someone, like to death. Not the same, not the same, not the same, but similar. Meaning you are going through the loss of a very person that was pivotal in your life, in a way that they don't come back from. Now, in divorce, the difference is the person is very much alive and well. They're just not with your ass. And so in that way, I don't know. I can't say it's more trying, because I would never say that somebody dying is easier to go through than, you know, a divorce. I don't mean that at all. But it's different in that the person that died is still alive. You just can't access them. So you have to go through the process of kind of a death of sorts. So anyways, I speak about divorce from a vantage point of grief. So it can apply to people that are experiencing loss to death. So take that for what you want. Anyways, the first of everything after a divorce is rough. It is extremely triggering, and it's confusing too, because I don't know if I've said this on here, but if not, grief is not linear. It is sporadic as fuck. It is all over the place, and you can be 10 years healed or away from the event and be just going about your goddamn life, and something triggers you right back to that very moment that you first felt that grief. And that's because the way that it works, the grief is connected to all of these memories, and these memories are like little packages of capturing moments in your life, and that package has all of the senses attached to it. So whatever you were eating or tasting or smelling or feeling, all of that stuff is wrapped into it, and those things can bring you back like you never left. It doesn't mean that you have not progressed past it. It doesn't mean that you have not healed, maybe not fully, but maybe fully. It doesn't really connect to your level of healing. It is just the way that grief works, triggers work. And when you're going through the first of things, so whether it's in relation to divorce, it's the first holiday for sure. It's your first oil change. It's your first trip to the grocery store. It's your first house. It's your first relationship. It's your first office party. All of those things are big reminders of what you had that you no longer have. And so with each first that you go through, you have to go through the process of both acknowledging what was and accepting what is all over again. And so, whew, my first, actually, yeah, let's start with that. First holiday season post separation, Thanksgiving. It was a shit show. It was a complete and utter shit show. Before even Thanksgiving got here, just the approach, planning to have Thanksgiving. My family was planning to celebrate it in Georgia, at my family's house. And first step, how do I get there? How do I fucking, excuse me, how do I get to Georgia from Florida with an infant? Well, not an infant. I don't know what you call that stage between infant and toddler, but she wasn't one yet. So she was little, okay? She was tiny. She still was on breast milk. It was that, you know? And so I am like, all right, I haven't been on a road trip with her like anything longer than an hour. I don't want to have to put her in a car seat for, 8+ hours all the way to Georgia. All right, what does it take to fly? Oh shit. Babies have a lot of shit. She got milk that needs to be refrigerated, can't be out of the fridge for more than 2 hours. She has a car seat. Do I bring my car seat? Where do I put it? Do I stow it under the plane? Do I rent a car seat when I get there? The stroller too, do I need to buy a smaller stroller, or do I take this big ass spaceship of a stroller? Diapers, what happens when she poops on the plane? Do I have to change her diaper in the airplane bathroom? Do I do it in the seat and have everybody smelling her shit? Like, y'all, I was paralyzed with all of the thoughts. And rightfully so. Like, kids are a lot at home, let alone on an aircraft. I also have extreme anxiety on planes. As much as I travel, I hate it every fucking time, y'all. I hate it. And I'm about to load myself up with some pills so that I can make my life a little bit more bearable, so that I can get out of this place without going crazy. But anyways, all those thoughts, and it all harkens back to, God damn it, this wouldn't be the case if. Because when you have someone, like, that's a lot of stuff to have to think about. But if I was going into it with a partner, it's a lot less daunting. We're going to tag team it. We're both going to get to it. Not to mention two heads are better than one. Where I am weak, he might be strong. Where he's weak, I might be strong. He might be able to pull me out of this rabbit hole of like spiraling about all the things that I need to do and all the things that could go wrong. He might be able to help me out of that. Or he might just be able to help me with, hey, we'll tag team it. We'll do it. But, it's a lot easier to go through. So me having to go through this by myself, this is the first. And I'm like, fuck, I can't do this. Luckily, my brother was able to drive and scoop me and the baby up on the way to Georgia. And that helped. But I still had all those thoughts again about having her in a car seat for 8+ hours when we've only done one. How is she going to do this? What is she going to start crying halfway through? Because I can't just have her out of the seatbelt on the highway for oodles of hours. Like, what am I going to do? But we found a way, and it was doable, and it went fine, but it took a lot to just get there. Fast forward to being there. The awkwardness of it all. So, one thing about like me is and I'm sure many other people, but every season of life, every transitional stage that I go through, I tend to connect with people that are going through a similar phase. So, when I was in school, I was surrounded by people that were also in school. When I was a new professional, I surrounded myself with people that were kind of in that phase in life. When I got married, I was looking for married couples. When I got pregnant, I was around a lot of pregnant people. When I had a baby, I was around a lot of people that had a baby. Now that I'm divorced, I'm around a lot of people that are divorced or single. It is just a common thing to feel comfortable around people that are in a similar situation. The same actually applies to family, for me at least. So not to say that I didn't connect with my family members outside of those situations, but there's a special bond that we're able to create over some of these shared experiences. Being married and having kids were both things that we were able to bond over. And when I had my daughter, I'm the youngest and I was the last to have a child. And so once I did have a child, all three of us, me, my brother, and my sister, were in a space where we were married with at least one child. And so naturally it was lit. We were all able to make jokes about the same thing. We were all able to like understand and identify with each other in a way that we hadn't been able to do in a long time. So it was great. Fast forward to me being newly separated, all that shit went out the window. Now, granted, we were able to still bond over, parenthood, and I can still identify with the struggles of a married person, but it just don't hit the same. It's like, yeah, I remember it used to be like that when I had a husband. Yeah, this shit ain't cute no more. And although I'm able to identify with parenthood, I have a different perspective on parenthood now as a single co-parent. And even though they have way more years in the game than me, they don't know this experience. And so our conversations are different, you know? And then there's the part of just the things that we used to do. My family, we're big on just, oops, hit the mic. We're like, I guess we're probably, well, all very similar in that we are kind of ambiverts where we like being social almost equally as much as being to ourselves. I think we might differ in how far on one side we are, but we're all very, very much able to live in both spheres. And so we do spend a lot of time doing the mundane shit as a family because going out be taking a lot. Getting dressed, putting on drawers, putting on makeup, it's a lot. We do like to sit around and watch movies together and stuff like that and just have that kind of together family time. And I never had to think of it because I never needed to think of it, but a lot of the things we do as couples. So even as simple as I remember us sitting around the fireplace in the living room, just coupled up, and everybody was like joking with their spouse, like, but as a group about like Christmas and what we were planning, what they were planning to get each other and stuff like that. And all I could do, I could scroll Instagram for the guy that I don't have. And it was painfully obvious that I was not in the right room. I walked in on a conversation that was not meant for me, and I just wanted to Peter Griffin slowly fade away into the bushes. But I couldn't. There were no bushes around. It was just me in the reclining chair, and thank God for my phone to distract the hell out of me. But anyways, it was just again the first. It was a very my singleness was reverberating across the room, bouncing off all the walls, slapping me in the face, laughing at my ass. It was very annoying. There was also a little bit about a whole intervention they had kind of planned for my ass. Low key, it was super annoying, but I get it. They loved me and they wanted to help, and nobody knew really how to. And honestly, I didn't know either. It was my first time and had no idea what I needed, but I knew that shit was hard. So anyways, all of that to say, first Thanksgiving, awful. Now, moving on to Christmas. Equally as awful. Well, actually, no, I won't say equally. It was slightly better than Thanksgiving, but it wasn't good enough to write home about. And so, actually, my first Christmas, I did not have my daughter. That was issue number one. Not having my daughter made it, y'all, it made it painfully empty. But I didn't have my daughter, but I was fortunate enough to have a very good friend. Good friends are hard to find, y'all, but my very good friend Jamala, whom you guys might remember from one of the previous episodes, she was kind enough to open up her family's home to me and for a Christmas dinner and gift exchange. Actually, like, y'all, when I tell you, they treated me so well. Like, they even had me participate in the gift exchange, and they had shit for me. Like, y'all. And as heartwarming as it was, as grateful as I am, as enjoyable as they were, it still sucked. Not because of them, but because of the situation. I absolutely hate to feel pitied, but I also needed it. It's kind of like a homeless person that doesn't want a handout, but sir or madam, you're still hungry. So take the breakfast bar and sit down somewhere. That was all of the energy. It was, Alexis, yeah, you don't want to be pitied, but your life kind of right now is a little pitiful. Not because you're single that it's pitiful, but it's a sad situation. It's a sad situation. And it wasn't that kind of pity where it's like, oh, poor Alexis. It was more like, I hate this for you, and I wish there was something I could do. So it was not no crazy kind of energy that they were giving me. It was just my perspective on the situation. It was just high key sad, and it sucks to have other people witnessing your like sadness or your sad story. You know, it just really wasn't any way to get around it. Fast forward to this year. Knowing what I knew from those experiences, altogether different, y'all. Like, I am happy to report it gets better. Or, well, I won't say it gets better for everybody, because shit, I don't know your life. This is my story, and it definitely did get better, and I believe that it will continue to get better so long as I kind of arm myself with the knowledge of the past, you know? Basically, time really is the healer of all wounds. A lot of the frustration of that Thanksgiving and that Christmas had to do with it being the first time. There's just a level of shock that is bound to get you a little bit caught up. It's bound to catch you off guard and trigger all of those awful memories and emotions that are tied up to that divorce or whatever your event was. Another thing is just kind of preparation. Not knowing what to expect makes it very difficult to prepare for it. The second time around, I was able to really set myself up for success. And for Thanksgiving, well, first of all, I'm not going to surround myself with a whole bunch of couple led activities. Like, I'm not doing it. Ain't is me, myself, and I. If it's not an individual sport, I want no parts. Okay. Also, I didn't get caught up in trying to be a globe trotter. Like, we stay on our ass still. All right. It's too much work trying to go. Not to say that I can't, but right now it gives me a lot of anxiety. So it's just not that deep, y'all. It's not that goddamn deep. I didn't have my daughter, I don't think, the whole day. I had her half the day. Spent half the day with her, staying still at home, eating food at the house. And I spent my actual Thanksgiving away with family and doing all that stuff. But just because it was easier, because, listen, my daughter is still not at an age where doing shit out with her is fun. it is work because I'm having to manage her disposition, and she doesn't really care what's happening. She doesn't care if now it's time for everybody to eat. She already ate 30 minutes ago. She wants to play right now. So I'm not going to sit here and watch myself, Mom. So whatever you think you're about to do at that dinner table, unthink it, So yeah. Doing things with her isn't going to align with my goal of the holiday. In much the same way, I talk about that first Christmas sucking. It actually sucked before that, meaning my very first Christmas after she was born, my ex and I were still together, and it sucked. It sucked. It didn't suck in the same way that last year's Christmas did. It sucked because I really thought that I was gonna have this magical Christmas with this little 3-month-old baby. And she was like, bitch, if you don't whip that titty out and give me my dinner and shut up. And so I quickly realized that, oh, no. It's a regular damn day for her. It's no fun. Y'all, she really did not care. And so now going into these holidays, armed with that, I was able to prepare myself in a way that I was not setting myself up for these awkward moments. As much as I was grateful to my friend Jamala for bringing me in, and I also had a nice little boo thing for the other parts of the holiday that was a very welcome distraction as well. But then there was that other part of the holiday that it was just me, that I had no choice but to sit in the reality that things were different and not in a way that I liked, at least at that time and at that moment. So this year I was able to plan to have both healthy, I don't know, I can't say healthy, but very good, very solid distractions, and very good, very solid time for reflection. And that's something that I would encourage everyone to do, because I do believe that there's a time to turn away from that aloneness, and there's a time to lean into it. Both of them should happen during that holiday season, but we'll get to that a little bit later. The next thing is boredom. Boredom is a bitch. And when I say boredom, there's a difference between the doing nothing that you plan for and when you want to do something but end up doing nothing by accident. That is the boredom that I'm talking about. That boredom is a bitch, and that is the boredom that I believe you should avoid during this time. So the first Christmas, I didn't have my daughter, and I was struck with this bad boredom. Like I said, I had my time with Jamala and her family. I had my time with my little snack on the side, but then I had the rest of the holiday season by myself, and I didn't have shit to do. So during the holidays, the winter kind of holiday season, there's kind of this COVID-esque occurrence where there's not much to do but be inside with whoever you live with, your family. Christmas, unlike Thanksgiving, is a lot more of an intimate kind of holiday where you are typically experiencing it or sharing it with your immediate family. For the most part, at least in my experience, you're not really invited. Like me going to my friend's house for Christmas, that's not a regular thing. Or going to a coworker's or friend, like typically it is, grandparents, parents, children, grandkids, maybe, that's usually the extent. Not usually like going sideways to like cousins and aunties and stuff, unless they live with you. But anyways, that being said, you're not just like, everybody has things planned for themselves and their immediate family. So if you don't have plans with your immediate family, you don't have plans. things are shut down. There's not really places to like frolic and go. It's cold outside. People aren't in these streets. It is very easy to get caught up by your damn self, you know, especially if you don't have your person or a companion that you can regularly expect to be there for you. And so if you are not super proactive, you will wind up in this bad kind of board that allows you to do nothing else but think about what you don't have. People, things to do. Just like COVID did. It just makes you feel like, oh shit, this is what my life is. God damn, this shit is trash. You know? And so during that first year, that is kind of what I experienced. Now, going into it the second time around, again, being able to kind of prepare myself for these things, I was altogether different. First of all, I had my daughter. So the distraction of being a mother, A1. Now, I can't say that it's fun. I wouldn't say get a child to distract you, because it's also not fun. It can be sometimes, but it's a whole lot of work, caring for a child and all. And so, but anyways, that was a very good distraction. I also had, so the way that it went, during Christmas, I had my daughter. I did whatever the fuck I wanted to with her. And then I had a few days, well, actually, I had about maybe 5 days where I didn't have to go to work and I didn't have to be a mom. At least I didn't have her with me to be a mom. That's the most time that I've had to myself since before she was born. So when I tell you it was absolutely glorious, I truly mean it from the bottom of my soul. This holiday season was the best that I've had in a very long time because I was so intentional about it. And so I had my daughter through Christmas to maybe a day or so after. And she went with her dad. And this is when, the world opened up for me. And I spent the first couple days taking care of my to-do list, because the way that my mind works, I can't really relax until I have knocked out some of those priorities. Not everything on my to-do list, but the things that's like, girl, if you don't do this shit, something bad is going to happen. So I knocked those out the first couple days. Then the next couple days, I did nothing. And not the bad nothing that is that boredom, the good nothing that you plan to do. So I had been waiting for this moment to be able to binge watch a couple shows that, I haven't really watched shows since my daughter was born. I watch YouTube clips. That's pretty much all that I really have bandwidth and time for. But there were a few things that I had heard about were really good. Wednesday was one of the shows. I binge watched them, and I was so excited to do this. I also just ate what I wanted to eat, exercise whenever I felt like it. I got to wake up whenever the hell I wanted to, and when I got sleepy, I went to sleep. So that was amazing. And then the last day or so that I had to myself, it was like a day and a half, after I had gotten everything that I wanted to get done, completed, after I had all the time I needed to relax, I sat down with myself and I had some really productive, reflective time. I got to sit with myself and assess the year, assess the holiday. There was a lot of change and transition happening at that time for me, and I was able to finally sit down and say, how you feeling, girl? How are you really feeling? Where do you go from here? Do you know how to get there? I also got to schedule a good session with my old therapist, and that too was so refreshing, so needed. It gave me another perspective, a clinical perspective, a positive perspective, or not positive as in positive things to say only, but positive as in constructive. perspective. And all of this just helped me kind of reset myself in the best way. And so, like I said, this was probably one of the best holiday seasons that I've had in a very long time, because it it rejuvenated me as a person. Like, I got to have, you know, uh, a memorable like couple of days with my daughter, just like the closeness and intimacy of mother-daughter time. I got to have the time necessary to handle my fucking business, because you get so caught up during the year and with work and all that stuff. And then I got to have some really high quality reflection time. So, y'all, it was so good. And so in that way, I was able to conquer that boredom thing. So going forward, you better believe I'm going to plan ahead to make sure I have the same type of balance. So back to what I was saying, there is a time to turn away from the aloneness after a divorce, and there's a time to lean in. And I think during the holiday season, it's good to plan for both, because well, for one, you want to distract yourself from wallowing in the overwhelming sense of aloneness, because that ends up spiraling out of control. It's not healthy. It can lead to like little depressive fits and stuff like that. But you also still need to make time to feel your feels, because regardless of how busy you are, it is inevitable that you will feel the gravity or the weight of being on your own, especially after a divorce or after losing someone or whatever. Or if you've just been single and again hate being alone for the holidays, even if you distract yourself, in the back of your mind, right back here, you know that you're alone and you feel it in some types of ways. So I think that it's also just as necessary, just as essential to plan for some time to really feel your feels. And that's what I call leaning into it. That was what I did that last day and a half, is I allowed myself to sit with the truth of my situation and then reflect on it. It's super healing. So, if that means I need to plan a trip for myself, by myself, to some place that is super active and has, entertainment built in, or I need to find another single girlfriend and plan a trip together to do something for part of my holiday season, and then plan some time to either, there's a number of things that people do, whether it's going to the beach, whether it's taking a walk, going to a park, going on a hike. Nature is like a kind of a top destination for people to reflect and have time with themselves. Honestly, for me, I like to reflect. I'm not an outdoorsy girl. So I tend to find comfort at home. And so what I found, one of the best ways for me to really sit down and think, is checking myself into a hotel, a nice hotel, because it has that homey feel. I can sit there in my drawers and my socks with some good food, some good takeout or whatever, and still be away enough to not fall into the routine of doing shit or being distracted by regular life and responsibilities. So whatever it is, I absolutely plan to make sure that I have both opportunities planned ahead of time for whatever holiday season I'm about to experience. So boredom is a bitch. It can be overcome, but you need to plan for it. All right. Another thing is the pressure of traditions. It's frustrating. Being newly divorced or newly single, especially during the holiday season, there's that initial desire to do the things that you used to do. But the reality is there's a gaping hole. There's something that doesn't quite add up. So all the traditions that you used to do, you're going to have to, you can try to keep them, and some of them you still can keep. But more than likely, in the process of carrying out that tradition, your mind is gonna think back to when that other person was there doing that tradition with you. And so sometimes it's better to just start new traditions. But you might not feel like it. You might not feel like it right then. It might take some time. And truth be told, like, Christmas used to be my favorite season, my favorite holiday, until I had a baby. Growing up, I was the baby of the family by 7 years. Like, I was truly the youngest person in the household for, like, I mean, the youngest person in the household, but like, I was the only child or baby in the household for a very long time. And because of that, I apologize to my brother and sister. I know this is a sensitive issue for them, but I got spoiled. My parents spoiled the shit out of me. Like, I had like that Disney World level magic happen every Christmas, where I went to sleep, bare Christmas tree or maybe a couple gifts, wake up and the entire house is filled with gifts. I might be exaggerating, but honestly, I can't tell. That's how I remember it, so that's the truth. But every gift had my name on it. Every fucking thing had my name on it. No matter how small or big the gift, it was mine. It was all mine. And it was magical, y'all. And so I carried that like magic into my adulthood, and it wasn't really about the gifts. Especially not in adulthood. I don't really go about getting adults gifts. We can do stocking stuffers, but to me, Christmas is for the kids. And so I still carry that magic with me, and I just love the nostalgia of Christmas. But Christmas as an adult is stupid. Well, not adult. Christmas as a parent is stupid. It's stupid. I want my money back. I didn't know. Nobody told me. I didn't think it through. Yes, there is a joy that you get from being able to bring a smile to their face as they open a gift and open a present. Unfortunately, my daughter is still too young for me to have that experience. Right now, she's still at a place where she prefers the wrapping paper to the thing that is wrapped. And it's ghetto. It's ghetto. I want no parts. Give me all of my coins back, please. Also, y'all, single Christmas ain't the same. Ain't the same when you don't have somebody to, especially as a parent, being able to experience a kid open the gift or not care about that gift is different when you're sharing that moment with another adult human. My daughter only caring about the wrapping paper when it was just me, it wasn't funny. If I was able to laugh with another adult, somebody was able to witness this, then it feels a little bit different. But it was just me sitting there upset that she didn't actually see the gift. It's like if a tree falls in the forest but nobody's around, does it make a sound? If I had a moment but nobody's able to witness it but the 2-year-old that doesn't know it's happening, does it count? I literally have to videotape it and play it back for somebody else just to get the reaction that I need to really enjoy that moment. So it just isn't the same. So all of those like traditions that were once really big parts of my life, especially during childhood, didn't translate to parenthood. And now as a single parent, they damn sure don't translate. And so while I absolutely expect one day traditions to come back from me, right now is not the time to force them, because the joy, it just doesn't feel the same. I'm trying to pretend like it's fun, and it really isn't. And it's exhausting, it's exhausting trying to keep up with all these traditions, and there's no real payoff right now. So I'm here to set somebody free. If you're feeling like you got to keep up with all the shit that you used to do just to prove that you are happy and loving life in the season, like, stop it. You get absolutely no points for it. So why are you stressing yourself out? So this year going into Christmas, I had absolutely no expectations for the holiday kind of festivities. I did end up putting a tree up literally maybe like a couple days before Christmas, and that was because my cousin suggested it. She wanted to see it, and I'm happy I did because my daughter actually did engage with us and that she really did like the tree lights and stuff. But outside of that, wasn't no stockings, wasn't no decoration, wasn't no. I did play Luther Vandross Holiday pretty regularly, pretty often, but there's just something about Luther Vandross and Fabuloso that really like hits the spot for me. It's just something that I can't live without it in the months of November and December. So I did do that, but outside of that, there was not much Christmas like decor going on, and I was absolutely okay with that because that also meant there was no cleanup. It was just none of the bullshit, and not to say it's bullshit, but y'all, it's a pagan, it's a made up, man made holiday. It's not even Jesus' real birthday. I don't think that he cares that much if we don't like put up the tree, like for real, for real. So, all of the things that we do is just something that, gives us, a sense of, joy and family and memories. And currently, that shit ain't looking too great. And so it's okay to not pretend. And I won't. So yeah, I had a much better holiday this time around because I didn't get caught up in all the pretending. I literally just did the things that makes me happy, that makes my baby happy. We spent the day together doing regular shit, but I had more energy and more time to do it because I was off. Yeah, and that was great. And then when she was gone, I did more of whatever the fuck I wanted to do. And that is what I would encourage others to do. If the festivities is something that brings you joy, even in your single days, by all means, do it. If it doesn't, though, don't. The end. Okay, so another thing. Oh, yeah. This is just something I wanted to touch. It's not only related to the holiday season, but it does definitely have implications. And that is, it is okay to desire companionship, especially through the holidays or even through the holidays. So I know that a lot of the rhetoric, because I too used to be a person that kind of echoed this sentiment, was, if all you're thinking about is getting married or being in a relationship or being booed up, like, go find a way to make yourself happy. Go find a way to enjoy yourself, love yourself, sit with God, all that other stuff. Shut up. Like, for real though, like, shut up. I understand where it's coming from because, like I said, that used to be my sentiment. But I think it's not that it's altogether wrong. I just think it's missing an important, like, distinguishing factor, and that is, you need to do those things when the desire for a relationship starts to become all consuming. And it's not that you do these things because you are filling that hole. It's really redirecting your gaze. And that's something that I'm really starting to learn a lot these days, and just kind of my reflection time is my desire to have my person. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, God made a whole Eve for Adam because he said it wasn't good for man to be alone. There's a lot more to the story, but anyways, I think as humans, we're designed for companionship, to do life alongside one another and with one another. And no, that doesn't just mean romantic relationships, but that is a very large part of it. I don't think that it's a bad thing to desire it, but I do think that once it starts to become our only focus, once it starts to consume our thoughts, that's when we start to do desperate shit. That's when we start to hear a man, see a man, and immediately be trying to trap him, hunt him down like a piece of meat, and you will be my man forever and ever, 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 ever. And that's when we start to get out of control. We start being real thirsty in these streets. We start looking at the nigga that we was never interested in, like, he ain't that bad. Listen, I didn't have a couple of them, and that is when it is time to pull back, reset, and redirect that gaze. And that's something that for me, that's where faith comes into play. Whatever it is for you, do you. But for me, God is how I'm able to redirect my gaze and start to elevate other things in my life above the role of companion. And so I do understand the sentiment of saying, get out there. But just because you desire a companion doesn't mean that you don't love yourself enough, don't love God enough, don't recognize that God can be your everything. Yes, but he also made us a companion for that reason, for the ways that he's not able to like tangibly like be there for us in that way. Like God is not going to solve the problem, solve what I'm looking for, like I want something a little bit more tangible, if you know what I mean, if you get my drift, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. And so it's not bad to want that companionship. Just don't, once it starts to get too much where all you can think about is some random person that doesn't exist in your life yet, it doesn't make it come any faster. So it would behoove you to find some way to distract yourself, and hopefully it's a healthy distraction. But also during cuffing season, like the pressure is real. It does build up, and that is okay too. Just know that if you're out there, whoever you meet, you don't need to marry him over winter break. You really don't. Just let him be your blanket boo for a time. Then put him back on the shelf where he belongs. Especially if you over here like, looking under rugs and in all the cracks and crevices for somebody that is not for you. It's okay if you want to, scratch that itch for the time being. Just please do not get this nigga a permanent job. Okay? Do not hire him full time. He is a seasonal employee or woman, whoever you are into. Understand the roles of the position. Like what are the duties? How long does this last? If it's temporary, please remember that when cuffing season is over. All right, that's my piece. All right, guys, we are wrapping up cuffing season. Valentine's Day, I guess, is the last hurdle for most. I myself have never bought into the hoopla of Valentine's Day, and not in any of my relationships or my marriage. And so luckily the worst of cuffing season is over for me. And now that I have been able to compare this year and last year, I think I'm ready, y'all. Also, I have no intention of being single next cuffing season. Whoever my husband is, I hope you hear this. I'm ready and waiting. What are you waiting for? Let me stop because I have absolutely no voice. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and wrap that up because I would hate to be doing year 3 of going through the trigger season of the holidays. Yeah, like I'm really not even trying to put that in the zeitgeist. So please, sir, please get your ass, bring your ass, come here, let me holler at you. Anyways, that is all I wanted to discuss today, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for listening, for watching. I hope you're watching. I look pretty cute today. Anyways, please check me out on social media at is_Alexis. That's ISS_Alexis. No E, no I, double S. Or anywhere you check out podcasts at Lex Talk. That's LEXTLK. And I can't wait to see you guys in another video. All right.